every dream we light the way. With words of power, hearts arise. The art of encouragement shines. So leaning close, the journey starts. A moment of truth, a shift in heart. Together we rise, together we stand. With courage and love, we change the land. Bringing hope, inspiring change. Every voice, every dream, we light the way. With words of power.
Fantastic to see you here. Mark Guy should be joining us very soon. He is feeling better today, and it'll be wonderful to have him here with us. Um, Today, our episode is going to focus on family. Family, that word that both brings us joy, and we've had our best memories with, and sometimes our worst. We're gonna talk about that today. And I really appreciate um, those who, you know, seem to do family well, as it were. It's amazing just understanding how families shape us, our daily lives, our commitments, our connections. Everything seems to go back to family. And today, as we share our time together, I do want to just mention, this last week I was able to spend, for the first time in 11 years, several days with my daughter Gracie. And it was fantastic. Um, the idea in this episode, though, is to explore both the beauty and the pain. So that's why we call this roots and wings. The roots represent where we come from, our our connections, our struggles, the love that shapes us. And the wings symbolize healing, growth, and the courage to move forward, even when the past tries to hold us back. And that's isn't that the truth, though. Um, as we're thinking through this today, and as we're waiting for Mark to get on, this is such a deeply personal episode for me, be, because my family, as is yours, has shaped the trajectory of my entire human experience. Um, you know, and as we talked about the roots being where we come from, you know, our families, our upbringings, our pasts, that both good and bad, they shape us. They shape the outcome of our lives. And for me now, those roots include separation, right? Um, and it it also covers, I think, that those years of wandering and a deep desire for both reconciliation as well as the joy of reuniting. Like I said, this last week with my daughter Gracie, if it was for a few days, it was still so powerful to me. And when Mark comes on, I think he'll probably share with you as well. He's been navigating a few different things, and it's just so awesome to see how we connect with each other and we have that cohesive dialogue with one another. We truly can support each other through both joys and through our different times. Here's Mark with us now. Welcome, Mark.
See you, my friend.
Hello.
It's been a while. Had to
Yeah, how are you
skip a couple
feeling?
steps. Well, with God's grace and your prayers, I think it's going to recovery, but it has been very difficult. last 3 weeks for me have been experiencing some major health challenges, which is very unusual. So yeah, now I'm just getting back into it, and I'm so happy to be back with you with our podcast. We have a lot of things to discuss. So catch me up with what you've been sharing, my friend.
Absolutely. Well, I think first things first, it's that continuity. It's us continuing on a road to encouraging others, which helps us encourage ourselves. Um, Using our model of encouragement, I also started a group at the village church after 2 years of thinking about how to do small groups intentionally. Um, we've started Mosaic, and I reference our show so much, and in that because I'm working with the first group of folks who have stepped up as leaders themselves, and it's so crucial to develop that framework and just those I think strategic guidelines so that they'll be able to lead and serve well, and they'll know they don't have to have all the answers to encourage someone. They'll know that they don't have to have it all figured out or a perfect, journey themselves to be effective and efficient. And so that's been really powerful. And most of them are now watching our show. So really,
Yeah.
really
Well,
appreciate it.
welcome everyone. Thank you for watching and supporting us. This is something that Nick and I are. This is a big part of our lives. This art of
It
encouragement.
is.
It's a book. It's a podcast. It's a way of life. And this book that we have been working on. It's a truly a deep exploration of purpose and legacy. Man, it is some major exploration. So once you receive your book, once the book is going to be published, I hope you take some time to really, you can read it in one sitting, but I would read it over time and just let it affect your life for better. Because I think one of the one of the intentions of this book is to stir a conversation. Wouldn't you agree, Nick?
Yes, absolutely. Um, that conversation is what's going to lead to change. I
Mhm.
completely believe that if we're going to be more intentional with encouraging, if we're going to be more intentional with how we're interacting, both with those we're related with and even in our chosen families, it's vital at the end of the day for us to be intentional. And Mark, I know that I've been dealing with the joy of having 7 years these last days. It seems our signal is a bit weak today. Um, and
What's
that's
going
that
on?
can be coming from my end because mine's indicating that I'm not sure. But you know, Mark, you mentioned to me that you've been dealing with a few things family related as well, maybe not on the same side of you know that I'm dealing with. But would you mind taking a few moments and just sharing what you're comfortable with and just connecting with people because it's not only in our happy moments that we think of family.
Yeah,
We're on a
sure.
journey together.
Absolutely. So I have a family member that I haven't talked to in years, and there has been a falling out. And in the past, every time I interact with that family member, there's always feelings of shame and guilt, um, and just like always somebody's at fault, and I just cannot deal with it a lot of times because I love my family. I think they're probably the most close, to me, and I love them dearly. I always loved them since I was a little kid. And when there's shame and guilt and past trauma, I just cannot. It overwhelms me. So this family member reached out to me a few weeks ago, and it triggered a body response in me that my body just shut down. I couldn't eat, I couldn't keep the food down. I just a lot of stress, and that affected me for the last 3 weeks. And that was a direct trigger from the past. So it's a lot of unresolved issues that are still yet to be resolved. And yeah, that's what I have.
Mark, if I understand this correctly, you're telling me that words triggered a physiological response.
Yeah, absolutely. Words, a threat,
Words?
actually, a threat, uh, triggered just a cascade of events in my body, and it just shut down. I lost 18 pounds in the last 3 weeks. I couldn't eat.
Wow.
I had to seek emergency medical help, and I'm still not out of the woods yet. And it's all this pent up drama that just triggered down, and I'm I'm not happy it happened, but I'm happy that I have this time to deal with this and deal with it in my own way, resolve it, maybe once and for all. And I know that a lot of people experience family trauma. It's unresolved, it's difficult, it's painful. May not be as extreme case as me, maybe even worse, who knows? So, as a family member, like what can I do in the future? How can I keep my family relationships strong? I think honesty is one. Forgiveness is another. Um, you know, telling people that they matter to you, and we're not here to hurt each other. We're here to heal. And look at me, like I'm telling you, Nick, this health condition that just came, it was horrible. It still is. And I mean, I skipped like 3 weeks of podcast because of this.
Right.
So what
Definitely
can we
miss you.
do? What can we do to encourage each other? Is be honest. Be honest about your feelings. Be honest how you feel, and forgive. Forgive not for for your own sake.
Which can be so much easier said than done.
Yeah,
I apologize for the movement there.
can't hear you, my friend. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Much better.
Okay, excellent. I think there's something powerful about acknowledging our roots, Mark. For us to acknowledge whether things are beautiful or whether they're broken. And I think that that's what you're doing today. You're giving, just a testament that family can be the best, and then it can bring out at times because of their past trauma, um, and sometimes just their constitution, um, an awareness that the world is not perfect
Yeah,
and there's brokenness, but
yeah,
there's also healing, there's also hope. And you know I'm hoping that that's what you find today, buddy, is that you
yeah.
have both healing and you have hope. And I have been praying for you. um, and
Thank you,
you know
thank you. I feel it.
I believe
You
it's when
know,
we
I
face
just
and acknowledge, like you're doing, though, that's when we set ourselves up to be at the place of healing. It's acknowledging it, and that's what you're doing. You didn't call it anything other than what it was. You said it's a threat, and for
it's a threat. Yeah,
our own family members to threaten us, that's it's horrible that we're in that type of world. But I encourage you today to keep doing what you're doing. Show up today. You were able to because you're finally, better in the physical sense.
yeah. Not by
We,
much, but yeah, a little bit better. Yeah.
but I'm proud of you for being here today, and that's what we do. We do what we can do each day. There's no formula with how to cope with some of these.
Yeah. Like there,
Would
there
you
was
like to
some
share
break.
more about
Yeah. Well, one thing is, I don't think we're in this world to hurt each other.
it? No.
Um, that's not our intention. This is not what our Creator put us on Earth. And I just feel such loss when there's this, when we hurt each other intentionally, unintentionally. That's why I think, um, this is unexpected that we're talking about this today, but it is true. I just hope that everyone who is listening to us, no matter what your situation is in family or other relationship, is you find a way to forgive others, really forgive others. You don't have to talk to them, you don't have to be in contact with them, but forgive, release. Um, Obviously, I have a lot of work to do in this because I just a few things and my body just shut down, and I thought this was the end. I really did. And just doing some medical things and prayers and just getting out of this. It's been a journey. I'm really praying and hoping that I'm going to be fully recovered soon. So just forgive each other.
Forgive. If there's one word that goes along with family, it's forgive.
Yeah.
And even if those others in the family haven't forgiven you, you know, once you do that part over and over and over, it's possible to find peace,
Mm.
to have healing, because you realize that family is about the collective, and not all parts of your collective family are going to be amazing. And I apologize, I have my do not disturb on, but someone's breaking through it. That's our friend Brenda Brown. If you're watching Brenda Brown, you're breaking through. Just know that today. But, when we consider that, I believe that there are so many opportunities to hurt other people with our words. We can look out, whether we feel this way or not. Our words can be daggers by saying, "Oh, did you see that shirt?" you know, you can look at someone. Did you hear that speech? Oh my gosh, what are they doing up there? And we
Mm.
can constantly be the most amazing person in the room to ourselves because of our cut downs of others and how we're so much better. But where does that leave us? Highly susceptible for when we fall down, or when our ducks aren't all in a row. We're going to be the biggest target there ever was, but also that energy transfer that I believe that happens whenever we put people down, whenever we discourage, whenever we diminish, and whenever we dictate someone's outcome, like
Mm.
what happened with you, my friend. When those things happen, it it creates that void on their side that will be filled, I think, to overflowing with what they've given. And here's the thing, you don't have to do it. That's what scripture says. That's what life has also taught me. That person's going to get what's coming to them. And you
Mm.
know you don't have to think about retribution. You don't have to think about the get backs. And so many people, when these situations like you've experienced happen, that's what they go for next, is vindication. They go for making sure that the wrong was righted by violence or by reputation tarnish, whatever it is. But you
Mm.
don't have to do that. And if you're
No.
watching this today, neither do you. When these things happen, if you need to break for a while, break for a while. Because at the end of the day, families can break our hearts worse than anyone else, because they're the ones that are supposed to be there. They're not supposed to be the ones to file police reports or, threaten or, you know, completely, I think, even bastardized the concept of what family is. They're supposed to be the ones that are there for you. And in my experience, I haven't had that either. And it's it's sad. It's sad.
Sad. But you do
So,
have some good news, right? I don't know if you shared it or not.
which good news is that, sir? About Gracie?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah, Gracie, my daughter, for the first time in 11 years, came down to my home. She had a couple of her friends with her, and we had the most amazing time. Even though I was not feeling very well I've been dealing with cellulitis again. Um, I still had the most amazing time with them. If you watch some of my other platforms, you'll see that the boys did a few shows with me for Unwind, my concert series that happens on weeknights. And I don't know, it was just amazing. And I've got to brag on Gracie. She brought with her, and her friend Matt had with them, much younger than them. He's 17 in college. Reminded me of myself at that time because of him being in college early. But then I heard his story. Had been incarcerated in the juvenile prison in the state of Alabama since he was um, 13. So the last 4 years he spent behind bars, and now um, he's working on his college degree. And I think that's amazing. Um, Mark had to go, it seems, but I want to end today with saying that family is complicated. It's beautiful. It's broken. It can be the group that helps us heal or the group that continues to hurt us. But at the end of the day, don't ever give up on your family. I haven't given up on mine, even the ones that may have given up on me, because there's hope. Remember, roots are where you come from, your upbringing, your past. It's those experiences, both good and bad, that shape us the most. And as we are thinking through our own family experiences today, you know, I want to invite you to see surreal, beautiful moments when you think of your family. You're going to have mixed emotions. You're going to have joy. You're going to have regret. You're, and that's just part of life. Um, but I experienced joy. I experienced hope. And family, if you have fractured families, I just want you to know that they're not going to get fixed overnight, right? But show up and be present even when it hurts. Love fully, even when the past tries to convince you that you're not worthy of love or that they're not worthy. So we talked about roots, but the wings. What do the wings look like in your life? For me, it's about rebuilding relationships. It's about finding healing through love, forgiveness, and faith. It's about choosing hope even when it's easier to give in to despair. So, healing, of course, is a journey. And the more we learn to forgive, the more we learn to love, to grow, the more we find those wings that will lift us up. So, as you go out on your own way this week, here's some practical steps to consider. Number one, acknowledge your roots. Take time to honestly look at your past. Don't hide from it. Name the pain, but also acknowledge the beauty. Number two is to choose healing daily. Healing is not a one time event, it is a daily choice. Whether it's through prayer, therapy, conversations, or simply allowing yourself to feel and process, be present in your change. And number three, embrace your journey. Growth does not happen overnight. Give yourself grace along the way. Number four, build intentional relationships. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and challenge you to grow. And number five, 5, you've got to find your why. When you remember why you're doing this hard work, why you're trying to heal family relationships, because I promise if you're trying to deal with family members, it's going to be painful. It's going to be difficult a lot of the time, but acknowledge and remember why you're doing it to begin with, why this healing matters. Because when you find your why, you find your strength on when you don't want to do it. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us on today's Art of Encouragement episode. We hope this episode finds you the courage to embrace both your roots as well as your wings. Remember, your story matters, your healing matters, and your legacy isn't just something you leave behind. It's something you build moment by moment, day by day. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your stories, and your encouragement, because we're all in this journey together. Until next time, keep healing, keep hoping, and keep building those wings. I'm Nick Patterson. We had Mark Guy with us today, still finding his wings, still finding his healing, as we all are. Love you guys. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week, and I hope you're looking forward to our new book that's coming out on April 29th. Bye, guys.